Well, hello there and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we're going to be talking about something a little bit different, and that is my 5 biggest tips for planning your wedding. If you're new to my channel and you don't already know, I did just get married in October of 2021, and it was the best day ever. I did plan my own wedding, and I have a lot of thoughts and advice that I want to pass along to anyone that might be in the same position right now. So jumping into my 5 tips, the very first tip is to get an idea of what you want your wedding to look like. This is everything from about how many people you want to come, what kind of venue you're wanting to get married in. And this is a great time to go on YouTube, go on Pinterest and Instagram, and just get ideas. You know, you don't have to necessarily settle on anything, but just get some ideas, figure out what you like and figure out what you don't like. And this will make your journey a lot easier when you're shopping for vendors and venues. And while you're doing all of this research to get an idea of what you want, make sure that you're making your decisions based on what you want, you and your partner, and not what everybody else wants. My next tip is to start early. I don't mean to necessarily put down deposits on the first place that you love or go out rushing to make any major decisions, but it's never too early to start touring venues, doing research on vendors, and just asking general questions about your wedding. Some venues are booked a year, even 2 years in advance, so you want to make sure that if you fall in love with a venue, that you're able to lock that date in to make sure that you're able to have that day for your wedding. This is also especially important for anybody that is a DIY bride, because when you think about it, you're gonna have to be doing everything on top of what you normally do in life. Most people don't take a bunch of time off to be able to plan their wedding. I mean, it would be nice, but most people aren't able to do that. So if you spread out all of your projects ahead of time, you should have plenty of time to complete them before the wedding. That way you don't have to worry about stressing and putting together everything at the last minute. My next tip is to get organized. And this is whether or not you're going to have a wedding planner, you're gonna wanna stay organized. A great way to stay organized is to create an email address that is dedicated to just wedding communication. That way you have all of your wedding information in one place and you don't have to worry about sorting through either your or your partner's emails to get through those important emails. It will also make sure that there's one line of communication so they don't have to worry about hearing one thing from you and a different thing from your partner. Another way to stay organized is to keep all of your wedding related items in one place in your house or your apartment. So that would be like keeping all of your wedding accessories with your dress, keeping all of your DIY wedding projects together. That way you don't waste any time looking for things anytime you want to work on anything involving the wedding. And another super important way to stay organized is to make a packing list for the actual weekend of the wedding. Especially if you're having your wedding in a different place than you actually live, you want to make sure that you have every last thing with you when you actually go to get married. Now, my 4th tip is optional, but highly, highly recommended, and that is to hire either a day of coordinator or a full-on wedding planner. The most basic difference between the two is that a wedding planner helps you from start to finish, gathering your vendors, picking your venue, everything like that, whereas the day of coordinator is really only there to assist you on the day of your wedding. Of course, different wedding planners and day of coordinators have different packages where they can work with you on different things, so of course that's not like a cut and dry definition, but that's a very basic definition. I personally went the route of hiring a day of coordinator, and I am so glad that I did. She really was just a saving grace. She ran the wedding so beautifully, and I am just still so thankful for her. The reason why I highly recommend hiring a wedding planner or a day of coordinator is because you don't want to be running the show on the day of the wedding. If you leave all of that to another person, then you can actually enjoy your wedding day. And I know it may not sound like you would need somebody to coordinate, but you actually do, especially if you're having a ceremony. You want to make sure that people know how to walk down the aisle. You want to make sure that people know where they're supposed to be, everything like that. And while it is possible for you to take this on by yourself, it really is just so much better to hire or designate someone to do that for you. And if you don't have the funds to actually hire someone, there might be someone in your family that's willing to step up and do it for you as a wedding gift. My very last tip is to use your resources, and that can come in many forms. And first and foremost, I highly recommend asking your family and friends for help. They love you and they want to support you, and more than likely they want to help you through this super important day of your life. Another great resource is YouTube, like I mentioned earlier. I know I personally really benefited from watching Tina Lee here on YouTube. She does a lot of creative and DIY content on her channel, but she also has a couple videos where she talks about her wedding and some of the DIY projects that she did for her special day. I also listened to a couple podcasts, but my favorite was the wedding planning podcast, and I will link both Tina's channel and the podcast that I listened to down below so that you can use these resources as well. But this podcast was so helpful in planning my own wedding. It made me feel like I had my own personal planner because she just gave so much detailed information. And of course, if you hire a day of coordinator or a planner, they will exist as an amazing resource for you throughout your process. And I know my day of coordinator in particular, she helped out in every way that she needed to, but she also went above and beyond. In particular, we were wanting to do a sparkler send-off, but we weren't able to find any sparklers because of course we waited till the last second. But luckily she was able to find more than enough for us, and we were able to have that perfect send-off that we dreamed of. Well, that wraps up my 5 tips if you're planning your own wedding. I really hope that this video was helpful for you, and I really hope that you enjoyed it. I do plan on making another video where I share my biggest wedding mistakes and regrets and just everything that went wrong that day, and I am really excited to share those things with you guys. Other than that, I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!